Friday, Crypto Fam. In today's show, we'll be discussing the Bitcoin price filling the CME futures gap, but forecasters say that 25,000 may be next. And check this out, breaking news, $100 million plus in gold stolen from the Canadian airport in the biggest gold heist ever in North America. As Max Kaiser's response says, Bitcoin fixes this. And quoting Stacey Herbert, there has never been a great age of fiat. Easy money invites weak men in hard times. And check this out, Congressman Warren Davidson wrote hashtag fire Gary Gensler and hashtag restructure the SEC and outlines Gensler's 7 failures. Also in today's show, proof of reserve bill passes Texas House of Representatives. That's right, digital asset providers would be restricted from commingling customer funds with any other type of operational capital. Also in today's show, crypto analytics platform Santiment issues a warning and says that one Bitcoin metric is flashing, a concerning signal. Also, Bloomberg analyst Mike McGlone says he is very bullish on Bitcoin amid 90% Bitcoin rally this year, but there is a big catch. Also in today's show, Bitcoin can explode by over 50% according to one chart. According to Invest Answers, I'll be sharing his timeline to his $45,000 Bitcoin price prediction. Also, best-selling author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, explains why the Bitcoin price will reach $100,000. Quoting him here from a recent tweet, why I love Bitcoin. Years ago, I watched Bitcoin climb to 20,000, then drop to zero. I thought Bitcoin finished. Slowly watched Bitcoin climb to 6,000, and I bought lots. Why? Because people could support Bitcoin, not the Fed or the government. Bitcoin did not need the Fed or the government bailout because Bitcoin is people's money. Bitcoin to $100,000. Long live BTC. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. Welcome everyone. This is pod episode number 1258. I'm your host JV, and today is April 21st, 2023. And as you can see here in the market watch, Bitcoin and the overall crypto market is currently correcting and in the red. Bitcoin down almost 2% for the day, but maintaining above that $28,000 support. We have Ether down 2.5%, maintaining just above 1900. BNB, one of the few cryptos in the green, up 1% for the day, trading at $328. But as you can see, the majority of the cryptos are correcting. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we can see the current crypto market cap sitting at $1.183 trillion with $50 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance barely on the decline at 45.8% today, with the Ether dominance at 19.4%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, Zilliqa up 6.5%, trading at 3.2 cents, followed by BSV up almost 4%, trading above 35 bucks, followed by eCash up 1.8%. Now checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week. Massive losses for the overall altcoin market, with the biggest losses coming from RNDR down 19% and XRD down 17.8%, and Zilliqa, the top leader for the week, up just above 7%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated dead in the middle, which is 50 neutral. Yesterday was a 52, last week a 68 in greed, and last month a 62, which is greed. So there you have it. How many of you are currently bullish on the King Crypto? Let me know in the comments below. And how many of you took advantage of that dip, BTFD? Let me know, and I'll read all those comments out loud towards the latter end of the show. And with that being shared, now let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis. Bitcoin hit new intraday lows on April 21st as traders warned that 25,000 may be next. And here you're looking at the Bitcoin 1-hour candle chart, currently looking bearish. Now, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin struggling to preserve 28,000 as support on Bitstamp. And quoting Mikhail Van de Popp here, Bitcoin is currently showing weakness, broke back in the range, lost one of the crucial levels. Final crucial level is 27.6, could take liquidity beneath, but needs a fast recovery. If not, and no break of 28.8, then I suspect we'll see 26.2. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. Now, amid local lows of 27.8, prognosis for Bitcoin is now focused on a potential return to the area around a key trend line. Quoting Credible Crypto, Bitcoin testing our key local demand at 28,000 and not getting the best reaction. If this level is lost, 25 to 26 2026 is likely tested, but this is no cause for concern. And also the area around 25.5 constituted Bitcoin's 200-week moving average, so keep that in mind. A support level originally lost back in 2022 and only reclaimed here in the recent weeks. And here you're looking at the Bitcoin 1-week candle chart. Now a slightly more optimistic Crypto Tony nonetheless eyed the potential for a long position on the day. Quoting Crypto Tony, approaching a high volume node plus the EQ of this range, I am looking to play a long scalp here once I see the bulls stepping in. Another play, if the bears take over, is to short a loss of the range down to the range low at $26,600. Now let's discuss one more gap down. Is there one yet to come for the CME futures gap? Well, this was created earlier in April during Bitcoin's run to local highs above 31,000, with the market insight analyst Mickey Bull Crypto predicting a return to fill it. In an accompanying tweet, however, he acknowledged that every gap, including one more lower down on the chart near 20,000, should see the same fate. Now, I think it's highly unlikely we correct down to that level, but quoting him here, price is currently sitting on the TL support. If it loses 28,000, the higher chances we test 25.5 to 26 and continue upwards. So there you have it. We'll see how this is likely to play out. And breaking news just in, $100 million plus in gold was stolen from the Canadian airport in the biggest gold heist ever in North American history. Just another reason why Bitcoin is so much more superior to gold. You know what I mean? Gold can be confiscated or stolen. Much harder to do that with Bitcoin, obviously, unless you're willfully giving away your private keys. So Max responded, Bitcoin fixes this. Touche. And quoting Stacey Herbert, there has never been a great age of fiat. Easy money invites the weak men in hard times. She ain't lying. I mean, Biden represents that weak men, hard times. Now, this is pretty interesting. Senator Warren Davidson, hashtag fire Gary Gensler and reconstruction of the SEC. Gensler's 7 failures. Number 1, abusing rule proposals by averaging more than 2 new SEC rules per month. Number 2, inappropriately short public comment periods. Number 3, unworkable and unlawful ESG disclosure mandates. Number 4, Hotel California rules of crypto. A, the ability to check in with the SEC at any time, but never leave with approval. And B, endless discovery with no resolution and no clarity for the SEC's captives or the market. Number 5, an unworkable proposal for overhauling equity market structure. 6, a de facto ban on crypto through the proposed custody rule. And 7, failing to work with Congress. Calling out Gary Gensler. Gotta love it. Audit Gary, just saying. But with that being shared, fam, now let's dive into our next breaking story of the day. And that's what's happening in Texas with this bill right now. Texas House of Representatives approved the bill that would require crypto exchanges to maintain reserves in an amount sufficient to fulfill all the obligations to the customers on April 20th. Should the bill pass the Senate and receive the governor's signature, it would become law by September 1st. Let's go. The bill introduces amendments to the Texan Finance Code, namely Section 120, under the amendments digital asset providers that serve more than 500 customers in a state and have at least $10 million of customer funds would be restricted from commingling the customer funds with any other type of operational capital and using customer funds for any other transaction besides the original transaction demanded by the customer. I wish this rule was in place for FTX with Scam Bankman-Fried. A little late, yeah? You know what I mean? In addition, the provider would have to hold reserves in an amount enough to immediately let all the possible withdrawals out, and it should also create a plan to allow auditors to review the information made available to the customer. And by the 90th day after the end of each fiscal year, an exchange will need to file a report about its outstanding liability to customers with the state banking department. The report should also include the attestation of the auditor. If the provider fails to comply with the requirements, the banking department would have the right to revoke its license. In the aftermath of 2022's market failures, Texas took a cautious approach towards crypto. On April 12th, the state Senate approved the bill aimed at removing motion incentives for local crypto miners. So there you have it. I mean, I think this is good to protect with a proof of reserves bill to show that the funds are in play and not being commingled, as they put it, as this would only help improve the crypto industry. And I think many other states may follow suit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. Now let's dive into our next story of the day. And here is a flashing warning signal, I believe coming from Santiment. So let's discuss this right here. And then we're also going to be sharing the bullish scenario, not just the bearish. So check it. Leading analytics firm is warning that one key metric is flashing a bearish for the top crypto market cap, which is BTC. That's right. Santiment says Bitcoin's funding rate may be on the verge of turning negative, which would indicate a market downtrend. Crypto investors can take leverage long or short positions in futures contracts that never expire. In order for markets to maintain funding, periodic payments are required based on the difference between the perpetual contract market and the spot price, which is known as the funding rate. Quoting Santiment here, we can zoom in on just Bitcoin's funding rate on Binance, the largest platform for perpetual contract rates. At the moment, traders are looking as long as they've consistently been over the past month, and with the prices historically moving the opposite direction of funding rates, given enough time elapsing, this is a bit concerning. Santiment is also tracking social media trends, which can provide useful data some traders use to try to predict the Bitcoin price action. Quoting them again, looking at social data first, we are seeing a trend that you'll like to see if you're a crypto bull. Over the past 5 weeks, traders have gradually become less and less optimistic towards the top asset in crypto. We have backtested years of data that have found that prices historically move in the direction of the crowd's least expectations. When traders are showing more and more doubt, it increases the probability of continued price rises. Isn't that interesting how the market works? If the majority is expecting one thing, typically the opposite happens. However, Santiment says discussions on social media platforms are declining overall. Quoting them again, right now we can see there is a declining amount of both bullish and bearish candles from the crowd. In fact, there are less participants engaging in discussions on Twitter, Discord, Telegram, Reddit compared to the beginning of the year. This decline simply means the crowd doesn't know what to think. Generally, declining crowd interest, even as prices rise, usually means there is some disbelief going on. And I think we can all thank Gary Gensler's recent testimony in front of Congress where he provided absolutely zero clarity. Just saying. But with that being shared, fam, now let's dive into our next breaking story of the day and discuss a bullish Bitcoin rally followed by a $45,000 Bitcoin price prediction, followed by a 6-figure Bitcoin price prediction by Rich Dad. But here we go. Check this out. Senior Bloomberg commodity analyst McGlone is saying Bitcoin's prospects over the long term look promising. In a new interview with Stansberry Research, McGlone says he is very bullish on Bitcoin, but warns that risk assets such as the flagship crypto asset face significant headwinds moving forward. Quoting him here, I am very bullish on Bitcoin because of major reasons. It's definable, diminishing supply, very low in its early days of adoption. You have to be long over time, but it also trades 24/7, and it's a very significant leading indicator, and it looks like it just might have rolled over from 30,000. I just can't see how we are going to get what I view as a significant contraction in risk asset prices without Bitcoin, still a risk asset, going down. And according to the Bloomberg analyst, the recent price gains Bitcoin has enjoyed are absolutely attributable to the bear market rally. McGlone says that when other correlated assets start declining in value in case a recession hits, Bitcoin will follow suit. Quoting him again, I am afraid what's happening with Bitcoin is people are looking at it like the bank crisis has helped. It will go that way and trade more like gold and long bonds, but I think it is more about everything's up this year, and Bitcoin's the fastest horse in the race. It was the fastest on the way down, the fastest up this year. Bitcoin's up almost 80% in the year, and it might just start to roll over. It trades 24/7. It is clearly a leading indicator. I view Bitcoin as if markets do decline, which I expect, for instance, the S&P 500, I expect to drop for a normal recession, probably another 25%. Bitcoin should probably be the first one to lead it because it is still a risk asset. McGlone also says that over the long term, Bitcoin will trade like a safe haven. Quoting him again, I'm thinking long term, is Bitcoin going to come out ahead and trade more like gold and long bonds as a risk-off asset? But it is still a very risky asset. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the Bloomberg analyst, and to watch this video he did entitled Greatest Reset of Our Lifetime, check the show notes below the video in the description. And now let's dive into Invest Answer's $45,000 Bitcoin price prediction and his timeline. The widely followed analyst is expressing a bullish sentiment on Bitcoin based on historical precedents. In a new video, the anonymous host of Invest Answers tells his 500,000 YouTube subs the Bitcoin could explode by 54% from the current level to 45,000 if history repeats itself. Send it. Let's freaking go. Referencing a chart published by crypto research firm K33 showing that Bitcoin is currently displaying a similar pattern to the one seen during the 2018-2019 bear market. The popular strategist says that Bitcoin could hit the price target in about a month from now. How many of you would love to see a $40,000 plus Bitcoin price action next month? Holla. Quoting him here, if this pattern repeats and we get this level where I added a little red arrow, that means that by May 20th or about a month from now, we could be at $45,000 again. Love it. It's like Jordan coming back wearing the faux 5. Just saying. After that, there's a bit of a breather, a bit of sideways movement, and a bit of consolidation. And as you can see that outlined here with that red arrow on what the long-term hodlers of Bitcoin are likely to do next compared to what they did during the 2018 bear market, the anonymous host of Invest Answers says the following: right now, I think the long-term hodlers are far more committed than 4 years ago. Facts. They are still unwilling to sell at the 6% drawdown that we had. Facts. Now, where are my long-term hodlers at? And according to the analysts, another banking crisis, if it happens, could catalyze an even faster Bitcoin rally. As he points out here, as we've seen, the crisis in the banking system have actually fueled Bitcoin, as well as the regulatory choke point. It has fueled Bitcoin. If that continues, who knows, another bank crisis, this could send this up even faster to that 45 target. I hope he's right. And to watch this video he did entitled 45,000 in May, check the show notes in the video in the description and let me know if you agree or disagree with the crypto analyst. Now let's discuss Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki and his $100,000 Bitcoin price prediction and his bullishness on BTC, which you got to respect. U.S. businessman and best-selling author Kiyosaki continues to see enormous potential in Bitcoin despite the current price slump. In a tweet from today, he predicts the Bitcoin price will reach $100,000 per coin. However, he does not reveal the time frame for this. Quoting him here, this was actually shared yesterday on April 20th at 10 p.m. Why I love Bitcoin. Years ago, I watched Bitcoin climb to 20,000, then drop to zero. I don't know why he says drop to zero. Obviously, he's exaggerating. It never dropped to zero, more like the $3,000 range, just FYI. I thought Bitcoin finished. Slowly watched Bitcoin climb to 6,000, and I bought lots. Why? Because people support Bitcoin, not the Fed or the government. Bitcoin did not need the Fed or the government bailout because Bitcoin is people's money. Bitcoin to $100,000, long live BTC. So let's run the math. He got a big position at 6,000. It's up approximately 5x from that time. So I say Kiyosaki did quite well on his Bitcoin investment. Not too shabby at all. That's like 500% gains. So, you know what I mean? Now, if Bitcoin were to reach this price, Bitcoin's market cap would be approximately 1.9 trillion. So do keep that in mind. This would still leave Bitcoin's market cap 7 times lower than gold's, which is currently 13.19 trillion at the current levels. And in addition, the author also regularly recommends buying gold and silver in his tweets. He justifies this investment advice with an expected rise of the price of the precious metals. Remarkably, the author is not alone in doing so, but his preference for Bitcoin has other reasons. In a tweet on Tuesday, Kiyosaki wrote that the price of Bitcoin will continue to rise despite a 100% increase in a year. Well, from the bottom, we're up 100%. Keep that in mind. We hit like 15,500 towards the latter end of 2022, but just FYI, year to date, we're not up 100%, so he's exaggerating once again. We're more likely somewhere between 80 and 90%. But anyways, here's his quote. I'm betting on it, explained the author, who also revealed he has been buying more gold and silver in addition to the King crypto. Why? Because the Fed, Treasury, and Biden are liars. Preach. Yeah, I mean, he's preaching. In mid-March, he elaborated on that statement in more detail. The rich dad explained that Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has been fooling everyone. And according to him, this will lead to a massive scale crash of traditional markets. Quoting him here, Fed's Powell effed everyone. Raising interest rates will crash stocks, bonds, and real estate and the U.S. dollar. The next crash, 1 quadrillion derivative market. 1 quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. God have mercy on our world. Klaus Schwab owns Powell, Yellen, and Biden's souls. Much respect to Kiyosaki for calling that out. Now, digging through the multimillionaire's Twitter feed, one can notice Kiyosaki's enthusiasm for Bitcoin dating all the way back to 2020. On the 1st of April 2020, one of his first tweets surfaced in which Kiyosaki recommended buying Bitcoin in addition to gold. In mid-May 2020, he announced he had made further investments in gold and silver, and in addition, proclaimed for the first time publicly he had also invested in the King crypto, and by his account, he bought Bitcoin at the price of $9,800. Not too shabby as an entry price. Again, that's 3x up from that position, which we, roughly at 30,000, just rounding up a little bit. However, it's unclear whether this was Kiyosaki's first Bitcoin investment or whether it was a rebuy. So for all we know, he may have gotten involved much much earlier, but there's no public record of that. So what are your thoughts on Kiyosaki's $100,000 Bitcoin price prediction, and when do you feel that will likely turn into fruition? Let me know in the comments right down below. And with that being shared, now for my favorite segment of the live show, which is the live Q&A. Welcome to everyone out there in the live chat. Y'all ready for an epic weekend? Are we going to see a pump? What's going to happen, or a further correction? Let me know your thoughts. Quinn, good morning. Ellen, good morning. Megadon, good morning. Maximus, good morning. Trini, good morning. Good to see y'all. Savage NFT, welcome. Alan Haley, good to see you as well. Jeff S., Mike Well, Nathan Roth, good to see y'all. Got a lot of the fam in the building. Always a pleasure. Michael Volkman, good morning and welcome. I appreciate you tuning in live as always. Jeff points out, good morning fam. JV and Bitcoin struggling to hold on above 28,000. It does seem that way. We shall see what the weekend brings forth. Any predictions on where we land for a bottom? Well, as I shared today, there is a CME futures gap at around the $25,000 mark. So there is a potential scenario that Bitcoin can correct down that low. Will that happen? Nobody knows. Your guess is as good as mine. But I do know if the majority of the market is anticipating a crash, we'll probably pump. If the majority of the market is anticipating a pump, we'll probably crash. That's just the nature of what we're in, and that's what makes things so exciting. So we'll see how it plays out. You guys let me know what you think. You know what I mean? Megadon, good morning and welcome. What's up, fam? Good to see you. I call him the Don Corleone of Bitcoin. Much respect. Woke up in a nightmare this morning. It's snowing in Wisconsin. Sorry to hear that. We got beautiful weather here in Puerto Rico year-round. Sunshine and rainbows. Gotta love it. You know what I mean? Maybe you need to relocate. Snow coming here today and all next week. That sucks to hear unless you enjoy the snow, Nathan. Mike says, buy up the gamblers, sell out. Stay the course and be an investor. Buy it up. BTFD, I mean, yeah, take note of Michael Saylor and Bukele. What are they doing at times like this? BTFD all freaking day. I believe Saylor for MicroStrategy, his average buy-in price is roughly at the $29,000 mark. So he's now back in the red, where he was just back in the green a few days ago. You know what I mean? The amount of gold moving without armed guards. What the? Yeah, I mean, that must have been a very orchestrated attack. I want to learn more about it and get into the deeper details. But it's just interesting, and it goes to show you, you know what I mean? Criminals love their gold. Why wouldn't they? What's good, brother? And did you see Do Kwon? I don't know if this was truth, but it was surfacing all across crypto Twitter yesterday and today that Do Kwon swallowed or put a Trezor in his body, maybe through his anal. I don't know. But they show a, you know, like when you go to the airport and they take a scan and they can see if anything is hidden. Well, allegedly, there is a Trezor device, it looks like up his butt. Do you think this is the craziest thing ever? I mean, if I was in his position, I think it'd be worthwhile to remember your 12-word key phrase or 24-word key phrase, so you don't need to stick a Trezor up your butt. You know what I mean? I think that is the most hilarious thing ever. I've never heard of anyone else swallowing or inserting a Trezor or a hard wallet in their body because, again, not the brightest criminal in the world, but I just wanted to point that out. How many of you saw that? Let me know. I think it's hilarious. And what's your thoughts on Gary Gensler and with the congressman calling him out saying fire Gary? What are your thoughts? If you believe in the Simpsons predictions, there are 5 cryptos predicted in the future. We got ETH, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Doge, and File. Reference to SHA256. Very interesting. So you're saying all of those cryptos have been mentioned in the Simpsons? I know Bitcoin was for a fact. I don't follow the Simpsons nowadays, so I don't know about Ether, Litecoin, Doge, and File, but that'd be very interesting if that is true. So let me know. Please verify. Let's go 45,000. Full send it, Maximus. I know I'd love to see a $45,000 Bitcoin price action. It'd be fantastic. Litecoin is a dead coin, and File is surviving. Long-term is not happening. You also got to keep in mind, though the Simpsons has very accurate predictions, they have many inaccurate predictions. So keep in mind, if you have 2 presidents, for example, running for president, Trump, Biden, take for example, recent race, they can create an episode with Biden becoming president, and they can create another episode with Trump becoming president. And regardless who wins, they're going to be accurate and call that prediction. But we got to also remember all the inaccuracies. So do keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Because some people look at The Simpsons as if it's Nostradamus and it's going to come true. Oftentimes it does, but not always, because we don't talk about the inaccuracies. So just something to keep in mind at the top of your head there. Megadon says 3,000 feels like zero at that time. Exactly. That's probably how he felt, but I just wanted to keep it 100 because obviously Bitcoin never went to zero and never will go to zero. It is what it is. But yeah, Rich Dad is exaggerating. I get his point. It's all good. Quinn, just referencing what I saw in the screenshot, says Megadon, word up. Powell is doing all he can to bring it all down. Absolutely. The powers that be recognize Bitcoin as a threat to their central banking cartels. It is a fact. If they could have stopped Bitcoin, they would have over a decade ago. You know what I mean? But they know they can't. So they have to give it the green light because the more they try to suppress it and ban it, the more it's going to break out. You know what I mean? The more the government and powers that be go against it, the greater the price action will become, the stronger the fundamentals. And that has been proven now for the past, 13 years, however long it's been since the first Genesis block of early 2009. Bitcoin was created in response to the 2008 financial crisis, right? And it was released finally, the Genesis block, in early 2009. Bitcoin is the undisputed champion, 100%. There's no argument there. Gensler's dug his own grave. Facts. How many of you watched that hearing with Gensler and the SEC, and they're just point blank, Gensler, is Ethereum a security or a commodity? Oh, well, according, yes or no, commodity. He couldn't answer anything. He couldn't answer if XRP was a security or commodity. Zero clarity. And I love how the congressman called him out, calling Gensler's SEC like Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't check out. I thought that was a great reference, and I truly enjoyed that. I think Gensler is a criminal 100% because he's a puppet for the criminals. You know what I mean? Just like the president is a puppet for the criminals, the central banking cartels. You know what I mean? Show me who controls the money supply, and I'll show you who controls the world. That, my friend, is a fact. And that's why we need Bitcoin. Changes things. It puts the power back in the hands of the people. And that's why the powers that be perceive it as a threat. And it just is what it is. You know what I mean? How many of you saw that viral tweet I shared yesterday? And it looks like a boyfriend and girlfriend. It could potentially be brother and sister. I don't know. Maybe they're roughly 20 years old. And a guy in the streets walks up to them and says, what would you rather have? This $100 cash or one Bitcoin? And at the same time, the girl says, 100 cash. And the boy says, Bitcoin. And then they argue. And it's the most hilarious thing ever. And it's literally gone viral. It must have got like 1,400 likes and 400 retweets. And so if you haven't saw that, it's worth checking it out. You'll find it on my crypto Twitter username, crypto news. Yes. So if you're not following me on crypto Twitter, be sure to do so. How many of you saw that? And wasn't it hilarious? You know what I mean? 13th episode of the 31st season. Oh my God. You're just aging me now, bro. The Simpsons, which aired February 23rd, 2020, is the episode they had Bitcoin on the show. Wow. So in 2020, the year of the halving, how cool is that? That was right before the halving, right? Now, that's going to age me. I just turned 40, and I remember as a kid watching The Simpsons when it first came out. So I must have been 9 years old. Craziness to even think. And that is the longest running cartoon that I'm aware of in the history of cartoons, right? Is there a cartoon longer running than that? I think not. You know what I mean? So very, very interesting. Bitcoin is like Rocky Balboa. That's right, because you can't take it down. 100%. SBF and Gensler and BlackRock, they're all in cahoots. I agree with you, Ellen. Jeff, the episode is called Frink Coin on The Simpsons. Interesting. What's a Frink coin? Why wouldn't they just call it Bitcoin? Chuck D said, fight the power. Fight the powers that be. Shout out to Public Enemy. I was a huge fan growing up. I remember Chuck D. Flava Flav. Y'all remember them. Now we got a Bitcoin gun. That's right. We got to fight the powers that be with our Bitcoin. We got to fight smarter. You know what I mean? Tweet, Gensler is my daddy. You know what I mean? Bitcoin holla. That's what's up, Victor Scott. Word up. Gensler is going to GITMO. I don't know exactly what that stands for, but yes, I agree with Ellen. He's got to go. Get this mofo out there. Replace him. But unfortunately, you know what's going to happen. They're just going to replace him with another suit working for the central banking cartel who is going to continue doing what Gary left off doing. Just like Jay Clayton launched the lawsuit against XRP the day he was exiting the SEC as the chairman. And that's when Gary came on board. Now Gary is doing his bidding, and it will continue, unfortunately, because that's just the way the world works. All we can do, you know what I mean, is go long Bitcoin, hodl Bitcoin. I don't support the SEC. I understand they're trying to protect investors, but I don't believe that in the first instance. I don't believe that for a second. When has the government cared about investors? When has the government cared about what's in the best interest of the people? Never. Like never. You know what I mean? So what's to make you think they care about our health? What's to make you think they care about our finances? And what makes you think they care about protecting investors? They support Cramer. And if you listen to Cramer, you would have been in poverty a very long time ago. That's why we have inverse Cramer. Whatever Cramer calls for, the opposite happens. And that's who the government supports. He has his own TV station where he's allowed to give financial advice, which is the most horrid financial advice that anyone can take, next to Peter Schiff telling you to avoid Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And then Dan Pena saying Bitcoin is going to zero. Bitcoin is going to zero. Yeah, okay, buddy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. We live in a clown world. You can't make this stuff up. Not a bad prediction, Victor. That is pretty much what I expect. Yo, need $125,000 Bitcoin by October 2025. I expect that as a conservative price action. Let's talk about that for a second. In 2016, that was the year prior to me getting started in Bitcoin, we had a halving. And then 2017, the year preceding the halving, Bitcoin reached its peak that year in December of 2020 of roughly 20,000. Let's just round up. It was like 19 and some change. Then 4 years after that halving in 2020, we had another halving in which 2021 we peaked out at 69,000, which is the current all-time high, right? So if we just 2x from the previous all-time high, there you have it. That surpasses the $125,000 target you just pointed out. 2x is extremely conservative. We've seen Bitcoin 5 to 10x in a halving cycle. Will history repeat? Probably not. But does it often rhyme? Often does. You know what I mean? So I'm in the camp that I think Bitcoin will be multiple six figures by 2025 and hit a peak. It could be in the 200,000s. Mac's been calling for 220,000 for quite some time. It may be over 300,000. The truth is, Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. So let's see how the dollar plays out. Will it remain world reserve currency? Doesn't look that way. Not with BRICS now in the works and all this other stuff. Major governments around the world are moving away from the dollar. So what does this tell me? Hyperinflation of the dollar. Very real scenario can play out this year, continuing next year, the year of the halving in 2024, less than a year away. Then 2025, I expect the peak, multiple six figures. And I'm saying that conservatively because I genuinely believe that to happen. Is this a guarantee? No. No one can guarantee you the price action of Bitcoin because it is a speculative asset. All we know is over time, numbers go up. If you look at the price trajectory of Bitcoin over the past 10 years, we've gone up over 20,000%. If you look at the price trajectory over the, since the Genesis block, it's unfathomable. You know what I mean? Where we're at. Bitcoin was once worth nothing. And right now it's worth 28,000 US dollars for a single Bitcoin. Isn't that crazy? And we're just getting started. Keep in mind, we've already conquered 69,000. Only a matter of time before we return to the previous all-time highs. A big question is, do we return to those all-time highs this year? Or will it be next year, the year of the halving? Let me know what you guys think in the comments right down below, and I'll read these comments out loud. Tough Cookie, good morning and welcome. Happy Friday, TGIF. Hope you're going to have a fantastic weekend. You know what I mean? Jeff says, JV, look at the price of Bitcoin. 27,988 according to this chart on my screen. Okay, all good. Still have a gap to fill? Well, yeah, there are gaps to fill, but all I'm saying is if everybody expects that gap to fill, we'll probably moon because Bitcoin does its own thing. It doesn't do what the majority of the people expect it to do. That's what makes Bitcoin so interesting. How many of you anticipated a 90% climb from the start of this year? Probably nobody, and that's why we climbed 90%. So just saying, you can't argue with that. You know what I mean? Bitcoin does the opposite of what the majority are anticipating. It is what it is. Bitcoin is the best performing asset in history. That's a fact. There's no argument there. It's not even a question. All-time high before the halving. I do genuinely believe that, Megadon. I hope Invest Answers is right and we can return to 4.5 next month. Wouldn't that be something in May? I'd be celebrating. from the rooftop, because I'd love to reach that 50,000 mark or close to it, which is halfway towards that six-figure Bitcoin price action. Because again, we're going to be having a big celebration here in Puerto Rico once Bitcoin conquers six figures. We'll start planning for it once it surpasses the all-time high of 69,000. Wouldn't it be something? Bitcoin returned to 69,000. A day later, we're at 100,000. Everyone's mind is blown. Like, what in the world? Yeah. I'm a believer. Anything can happen. That's why I love it. That's what makes this industry so interesting, right? 19,000 gap. I don't see that. I don't see us ever going sub 20,000 ever again. The type of black swan event which would need to occur for that to happen? That's like Coinbase would need to go under along with Binance in the same day type scenario. And I just don't see it happening. But then again, anything can happen. Be prepared for all scenarios. If Bitcoin did drop to 20,000, the question becomes, how do you take advantage of it? BTFD, you know what I mean? What resources do you have to gather more Bitcoin and seize the moment? So regardless of what happens with the price action, keep stacking sats. You will be a winner. It's only a matter of time if you're not already a winner. And I believe every Bitcoin hodler is already a winner. You know what I mean? Just saying. Mike Well, 100,000 is back to 68,000. Buy. BTFD. Peter Schiff has changed his mind 5 times already. And he is a character, isn't he? And he also lives here in Puerto Rico, interestingly enough. I don't think we see all-time high this year. 48,000 tops. Well, we shall soon see, Gilly. Thanks for your feedback there. Appreciate you sharing. Yeah, I mean, Gilly admits, nope, didn't see it coming. No one did. I didn't see one analyst predict a 90% surge of the Bitcoin price action from the start of the year to ultimately, by the end of the first quarter, we were already up over 80%. Now we're up like roughly 90%. It's insanity. We're up over, or not over, but roughly 100% from the bottom, which was 15.6. And how many of you believe that that wasn't the bottom? Because at that time, everyone was bearish. They're all quoting Garrett Soloway saying Bitcoin's going to crash back down to 3,000. Even Kiyosaki was anticipating Bitcoin going back down to virtually nothing. That didn't pan out, did it? Because too many people were anticipating it, and Bitcoin did its own thing. Bitcoin is on its own vector, my friend. That is a fact. Egg Peter Schiff, Megadon, that's hilarious. CoinKid has a good theory on this cycle. Please do explain that to me, Tough Cookie. If the dollar collapses, I think Bitcoin will be the only rock in the ocean. It does seem that way. Bitcoin can easily become a world reserve currency. That would be a game changer. All we need is a spot Bitcoin ETF. As soon as that happens, I believe trillions of dollars, which are sitting on the sidelines right now from institutions, will pour right into the King crypto, increasing the market cap from where we're currently at to where are we at, like a half a trillion, something like that. Bitcoin is going to moon. The market cap is going to go to multiple trillion. Look at gold, as I mentioned earlier. We're already at 13 trillion. Bitcoin will absolutely overcome and conquer the gold market cap. The only question is by when. Kathy Wood believes around the year 2025. I know the Winklevoss twins made the case for a $500,000 Bitcoin price action, and their main argument was Bitcoin surpassing the market cap of gold, meaning a lot of that gold market cap is going to go into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is so much more superior than the precious metal. And that, my friend, is a fact. You know what I mean? But anyways, fam, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. We broke down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin price fills CME futures gap, but forecasters are predicting that 25,000 may be next. I also shared with you that proof of reserves bill passed in Texas by their House of Representatives, as well as crypto analytics platform Santiment issued a warning. It says one Bitcoin metric is flashing, a concerning signal. Also shared with you that Bloomberg analyst Mike McGlone says he is very bullish on Bitcoin amid the 90% Bitcoin rally this year, but that there is a catch. We also discussed that Bitcoin can explode by over 50% by next month in May, according to one chart, according to Invest Answers, and I shared his timeline. We also discussed Rich Dad Poor Dad best-selling author Kiyosaki explaining why the Bitcoin price will reach $100,000. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below.